I heard everything that was in the manifest cosmos blending into one pure harmonic tone, the primal tone, which is the primal thought, emanating from the morning, the dawn, unbounded absolute mind. It was one of the most stunning experiences of my life, surpassing or equaling the near-death experience I had. And that's why I formed CSETI and the Disclosure Project and this work, because I knew that this information and the science behind it and the cosmology behind it had to come out. And if we allow it to be experienced, lock that door so we don't have people disturbing the lecture. If we do this, then what happens is that on that level of pure consciousness, we can enter into a state like the rishis did and the enlightened beings have, and find the pure tone and manifest that world and that vision. That's what we're doing when we go out. Now, one person said, well, these craft that are being seen, they're conjuring them up out of your mind. And I just smiled. Whose mind? What is mind? There's only one mind. Erwin Schrödinger was right. I mean, the father of quantum mechanics, when he said the total number of minds in the universe is one. That is, it is a singularity. And no matter how many times you may want to trap it in your ego and individuality, it is always one. Infinite, unbounded, omnipresent, eternal consciousness. And that's who we are. It's beautiful. Experiencing that is so powerful alone, but it is 1,000-fold, exponentially more when you're with a group. And you know, Dr. John, I don't know if you know the Princeton Engineering, the Peer Lab at Princeton that Dr. John had for a while, where he was the professor of engineering at Princeton, and he did experiments with people's thought and mind being put on random number generators and various mechanical systems and the effect it would have. Well, it turns out that there would be an effect with one person. I mean, not someone trained in meditation, just someone off the street. But if there were two people who loved each other and were connected to each other, the effect wasn't additive, it was exponential. Now imagine what happens when we're sitting with 20 to 40 people out under the stars in Joshua Tree or on Mount Shasta, and everyone is going into that state of unbounded consciousness. And we're then remote viewing deep space, and we become deep space. We become the mind of the unboundedness. And then we connect with these extraterrestrial civilizations, which have bodies and worlds that are very highly developed, technologically and spiritually. They couldn't get here otherwise. And we connect then with the celestial realm and the level of the avatar, people say ascended masters, the avatar level, the most great light, the primal thought, Brahma consciousness. And then here it comes. So people go, well, then you are creating it from your own consciousness. I said, yes, because all this is that. The mind, that level of the conscious mind, which is the awakeness whereby you're conscious at this moment, is always in its fullness if you become silent and pure and just be. That's what meditation is for. But that's just the beginning. See, the beginning of our protocol is samadhi. That's where we start. And then we go. But this is the world we have to create, where this is understood. And these civilizations that are out there who are watching patiently, assisting when they can without being overbearing, get it. And they get it fully. Why? Because you cannot be a civilization that dematerializes a craft and travels through interstellar space, interfacing with this level of the cosmic consciousness, and be in anything in a state that would resemble hostile. Now, I often get into this state because, you know, the whole New Age UFO things, that they're the good ETs, and they are blonde and blue-eyed and look like from their Scandinavian babes, you know. And then there are those bad ETs. Oh God, cosmic racism. Do we really need to go? I mean, you know, it's like, oh please, the New Age is the oldest age in the world. This is the banality and the bane, actually, of the past age that's dying, is the consciousness of separation. And this state of mind allows no separation. None. Not with anyone. Not even the ferocious lion that wants to devour you and has just killed your best friend, and two people helping you do the most difficult that has happened on this planet in the last 500,000 years. So that's the state of consciousness. Ouch, I don't know how I said that, but that's the state of consciousness you have to go to. And that's the magic of true forgiveness born from the compassion of the Buddha. And the Buddha is this state within us. It is the state. And then you have compassion for all things. We have, in this project, traveled all these distances and all these experiences. And yet we look around us in the world and we know that we're the bridge generation. But you go out here and here's LAX. I call it X-Lax. I like it when I leave and it's really X-Lax. Goodbye. Quack, quack. Don't you love that in Will and Grace where Karen goes, quack, quack? Like one of my favorite sayings in the but we're really the bridge between a time that is receding and this beautiful future, the hallmark of which is this universal peace. But it has to be within ourselves and manifested out there. It doesn't mean that we don't interact with the world. On the contrary, this is the time for the enlightened people, all of you who understand what conscious mind is and its power and the power of meditation and prayer, to engage the world in ways that you may be afraid to. But you know what? Arjuna was right. I mean, Krishna was right when he told Arjuna on the battlefield, a little of this, capital T, eliminates all fear. A lot of people have asked me, haven't you been terrified doing this? I said no, because my shelf life expired when I was 17. You know, I mean, I was very sick and died. And so I realized two things from that, several, a bunch of things, but primarily, one is that there is no death, and secondly, that the conscious mind whereby we are awake is the cosmic being standing within each of us. And it was absolutely clear. This from a child who was raised as a devout atheist. And, you know, we were not allowed to even entertain the idea that such things could be possible. And so we have this within us, and so we have to then manifest it, but we do it in all the interactions. Now it's interesting because I mentioned earlier that when we were doing the disclosure project with all these military witnesses, and we had a national press conference that was viewed all over the world, and huge, I think. We went that day and the following days to some members of Congress to meet with them, because we said, look, to hold hearings on this. And one of the, I think the very first man we went to go see, I mean, we saw Teddy Kennedy and all these people, but the first one was a guy named Dennis Kucinich, who I thought was here, but he left or didn't come or whatever. But anyway, we were meeting with him. And as we went into his office and we sat down, we had 9 people, military guys, all kinds. And at the end of it, I was facilitating and not saying much. I was letting all these top secret military people share what they knew for this congressman. I'm going around in a circle. And at the end of it, they took maybe 5 minutes each. And at the end of it, I made a few comments and remarks and pulled it together. And he looked at me as the leader of the group. And he said, in all my years in Congress, I have never felt a spirit like I did today when you entered this office. And that was the darshan, not mine per se, but of the purpose of what we're doing. It is very powerful and it is very protected. And the second thing he said was, the fact that you were here means that time is short.